For 12 years, Rachel Burton has risen every weekday morning at 3:30 a.m. to co-anchor the BBC 5 Live's flagship breakfast programme, covering some of the biggest news and sports stories around the world. But it was her own teenage children who set her on a mission to explore the dangers of underage vaping. Alarmed by confessions they had experimented with disposable single-use vapes themselves, Rachel began investigating the worrying trend in July last year. Since then, she's returned regularly to the subject, interviewing teachers, parents and medical experts, who have repeatedly warned that clever packaging, highly visible placement in shops and sweet flavors such as gummy bear have helped make vaping an effective entry into nicotine addiction and smoking amongst young people. Ministers are reportedly poised to ban single-use vapes on health and environmental grounds after concluding the products are overwhelmingly aimed at children. Consultation on a ban could be revealed as early as this week, but don't expect Rachel to be growing from the rooftops. Katie Price's tooth fell out from vaping after being shamed over mum's disease. "Oh, gosh, we were never looking to have an outcome to ban the vapes," says the down-to-earth radio and BBC Weekend TV breakfast presenter. "That's not my job. We just wanted to peel the curtain back to say, can someone look at this? We think something is going wrong." But its good action appears finally to be happening. "What I am frustrated by is that it seems to have taken a long time for anyone to act on it. We have been talking about this for more than a year now, putting it out there and hearing head teachers amplify their concerns and how much of a nightmare it was." Rachel, a mum to two girls aged 17 and 13, as well as two boys, 16 and 7, pauses and then adds, "In all honesty, the reason I became alerted to it is down to my children. It was they who 18 months ago said, 'Mum, you ought to be talking about this on the radio. Everyone at school is vaping, it's so easy to get hold of them. They are being sold in schools. Let's be clear. My children are no angels and the eldest have to varying degrees occasionally vaped.' Of course, I was cross like any parent would be when I found out, but this isn't about me being angry with my kids. It's not a problem confined to my house, it's a problem across the whole country." With confirmation expected any day on a ban, medical experts have understandably been quick to welcome the news. Earlier this month it was revealed that a staggering 5 million single-use vapes are being discarded in the UK every week, up fourfold since 2022. Research by Material Focus, a not-for-profit organization, claims this amounts to 8 vapes being thrown away a second, with enough lithium in the products to create 5,000 electric car batteries a year. Don't miss Steve Barclay to announce disposable vapes ban as early as next week. Latest, vaping could shrink your testicles and reduce sperm count, new study warns. Insight, horror as Trot filmed vaping on bus while sitting next to mum who didn't notice. Discover, pediatricians have attacked ministers for allowing e-cigarettes to be sold in child-friendly packaging, often in popular sweet treats flavors, including banana milkshakes and jelly babies. Professor Andrew Bush, a consultant pediatric chest physician at Royal Brompton and Harefield Hospitals, said last year, "I am concerned that we are sleepwalking into a public health catastrophe with a generation of children hooked on nicotine." Vape shops have turned up on every single street, which is why the UK is such a massive market now, points out Rachel. "I appreciate it has been a difficult policy decision as they haven't been around for long and they are a very good device for getting people off smoking. But up until now, it has been very easy for teenagers to get hold of vapes. I don't know any teenager who says, "I struggled to get one." This week, Rachel will also be part of a special 5 Live Teenage Summit examining underage vaping and other issues that affect teenagers across the country. "Part of me thinks every generation panics about their teenagers and we should chill a bit," she says. "But they are facing challenges that are so enormous now. These kids are constantly on their phones. This summit is about giving teenagers a voice." Heart-to-heart discussions with her own 4 children, she admits, can invariably end in a sigh of "No mum, shut up." She chuckles, "Most of the time they tell me to shut up and leave it to the radio. I have frank conversations with my 16-year-old son but he hates it. I have talked about pornography, women, relationships and the response is fairly typical, 'No, mum shut up.' But I am undeterred as it is really important to have those conversations." An endearingly honest presenter with a fabulously dry sense of humor, it's easy to see why 12 years after taking up her role as 5 Live's breakfast anchor, Rachel is still going strong. Rising every weekday at 3:30 a.m. to host the 3-hour program alongside Rick Edwards, she still hasn't got used to the early starts but insists it's a sacrifice worth making. "I was 36 when I started the breakfast show and I am now 48, she says, smiling. "I'm not sure your body ever adapts to getting up at 3:30 a.m. You literally feel like you have been yanked out of bed. But I still get a kick out of it and we always have such a good time. I work with a great team. Rick and I get on well. It's a lovely friendship." As well as covering big news and sporting events, Rachel has just returned from a week in France covering the opening games of the Rugby World Cup. She also hosts BBC One's Weekend Breakfast Bulletin from time to time. "It takes me out of my comfort zone and I enjoy it," she admits before joking, "and it forces me to pay attention to my hair and eyebrows." She has been married to her husband, Luke, also a journalist, for nearly 20 years and together, they live in Knutsford, Cheshire, with their 4 children. "I am lucky because he is freelance and has a degree of flexibility," she says as she reflects on juggling her high-profile job with family life. "He can usually pick up the slack when I am really busy and vice versa. There are times when he is up against it and I have a lot going on and it is manic. It's really hard but thankfully we can rely on our network of friends to help out." Laughing, she goes on to confess she is no perfect mum, confiding, "Our house is an absolute mess, things get forgotten all the time, I forget stuff at school, it's chaotic and disorganized but we muddle through from one end of the week to the next." When you work these hours, by 6 p.m. in the evening, you can become very tired and temper is at its most fragile. "I am by no means a perfect mother but on the other hand, my job does allow me to be there in the afternoons and I can generally take them where they need to go. I love my kids to bits and I hope I give enough of myself to them." Like so many parents, you try and do your best. The daughter of former BBC journalist, Paul Burton, Rachel started her career in BBC local radio, including a stint at BBC Radio Bristol, before joining 5 Live in 2003. She made her debut on the breakfast programme in May 2011, alongside Nikki Campbell, and the 48-year-old has been the presenter on the weekend BBC One Breakfast Bulletin since 2015. She says she will always be grateful for the many amazing opportunities she has been given over the years. 5 Live has always been a place for men and women pretty much equally, she adds. It has never occurred to me I wouldn't be out there covering stories all my other colleagues are covering, and I feel lucky to have had the experiences I have had. Away from radio and TV, Rachel loves going out for walks or runs with the family dog to help her switch off, as well as running a local women's walking football team. It's a bunch of women in their 40s and 50s, and it's been going for 4 years now, she says, smiling as she does. It's great fun. So, what's next for the down-to-earth presenter? Would she ever consider swapping the BBC airwaves for Strictly's sequins? Thankfully I've never had to make that decision, as none of that has ever come my way, she replies, roaring with laughter as she does. And even if it did, I am not sure what I would do, as I think I would do myself an injury. I have always bumbled from one thing to the next. Well into the future, maybe 10 years down the line, I would like to do something completely different, and I won't stay in journalism forever. But for the moment, I still have a great hunger for it. Rachel co-hosts BBC Radio 5 Live's breakfast show every weekday 6 a.m. onwards. The Teen 23 Summit will be broadcast on 5 Live on Wednesday across the station's daytime programs.
Just need